chasms. This is a wild, inaccessible land, which belongs more to myth than reality. Here there are neither orcs nor elves. Instead, bears and wolves. This is not Middle Earth. Rather, it is Middle Europe. The Balkans. Through the centuries, this land has burnt its way into the soul and spirit of its people. The jagged contours have thrown long, dark shadows over the history of the peninsula, always in the middle, between the forces of the East and the West. This region was once wedged between the empires of Rome to the east and west, invaded and plundered by barbarians, then conquered again by the legions of Rome. A no-man's land between the cross and the crescent, pillaged and sacked by Christian crusaders and Ottoman armies alike. For thousands of years, war was the only law that ruled the Balkans, devastating both the land and its people. Only in the last few years does it seem that peace may have finally come to Europe's powder keg. It's as if the bloody history of the Balkans conspired to conceal its natural wonders. And it is these, not any mythical ring of power, that we can at last discover. The landscape is still untouched, and in it are wild animals that have all but vanished from the rest of Europe. This is a journey of discovery deep into the heart of the Balkans, to some of its best guarded secrets. To the tablelands of Tikvesh, the last stronghold for Europe's vultures. To the east lie the colorful fields of Dobruja, and northwards to the great delta of the Danube guarded by a sea of mosquitoes. Then on upstream past the Carpathian Mountains, following the course of the Danube to the Karpatski Red Wetlands. Then southwards to the deeply carved chasms of the Dumitor Mountains. And to Skadarsko Jezero, the big lake. The names almost sound like those of Tolkien's Middle-earth, but this is a real land, virtually unknown but for its wars, a land still untamed by people, the wild Balkans. The Balkan Peninsula is named after a mountain range in Bulgaria. It was once thought these mountains crossed the entire region. Now we know that this is just one of many small mountain ranges in southeastern Europe, but the name remained. In winter, there seems little difference between the Balkan Mountains and the Alps, except the highest peak here is only 2,300 meters. The deep winter snow does make these low mountains of the Balkans unusual, but they are a far cry from those high, imaginary peaks that Tolkien wrote of. The wilderness of the Dumitor Massif seems far closer to Middle-earth. Even the name conjures up images of Lord of the Rings. Dumitor lies in the north of Montenegro. Thick, primeval forests cling to its mountain slopes above sheer rock faces and gorges. It's such remote and wild country that it still remains almost inaccessible for human settlers. nature not only survives, but actually thrives. This is a truly ancient forest. These 50-meter-high black pines have stood for half a millennium and are the last of their kind in Europe. These secluded mountainous regions have guarded nature since before record. The ancient forests still provide a safe haven for creatures that have virtually disappeared from the rest of Europe. Wolves still roam throughout the Dumitor Mountains, and their howl is a primal call of the wild. A pair of honey buzzards nests comes, they'll take other small prey too, like this frog. Next to the buzzards, a black woodpecker. The honey buzzards have only hatched a single chick, but it's rapacious. But the woodpeckers have a far noisier and larger for the brown bear. It's late in autumn and this bear is putting on as much fat as possible before finding a cave to hide in these forests. But now they are few and far between. Lynx remain. Those few humans who do live here give the bear a nickname, Medved, the honey eater. And it's a suitable name for its fat bear result of honey plundered from many beehives. Bears seldom if ever leave the protection of these forests that cling precariously to the more gentle mountain slopes, but then abruptly end. Mountains are the deepest in the Balkans. There are no natural access routes down into them. The greatest of them all is the Tara Canyon. At 1,300 meters deep and 78 kilometers long, the Tara Canyon is the deepest in Europe. Because the flowing water is turquoise blue and crystal clear like teardrops, able to get to the bottom of the canyon. If Europe's tear does bring one to so far, the almost sheer walls have been too great a challenge for any plans to build dams for hydroelectric power stations, and Dumitor's status has given the canyon added protection. Eco-tourism is being encouraged. The Austrian developed Negro to build hiking paths into the Tara. Natural heritage accessible to limited tourism. Otter is in its element. With a streamlined body, the otter swims effortlessly through the river, often river trout. The River Tara with responsible ecotourism, and the benefits will flow on through to an often impoverished rural population. Over 1,000 meters above the Tara Canyon lies an almost barren landscape, a perfect setting for the wandering heroes of Tolkien's Middle-earth, led by the wizard Gandalf. Plateau, almost the end of the world, bleak, lonely, and seemingly deserted. First glance. Forgotten by time and isolated by their environment, Stana Tserovich is one of the last Virginias, women who remain to do the hard work of the men who left. Stana remained with the farm and the her weather-beaten face has seen many winters and is deeply creased, almost like the Dumitor Massif itself. One village after another, the neighbors are moving away. Now the fire is burning in only one of 3 houses. Stana has always lived here in Dumitor. The sparse vegetation can barely feed. Everywhere she goes, she always and why does she care? And then adds, it is difficult to live up here. She keeps a wary eye on her surroundings. With fear creeping into her voice, the cows were on the range by themselves. Suddenly the wolves attacked and killed. The wolves took the calf by the throat and would not let go, even when she tried to chase them away. They were not afraid of us humans, she continues. The older cows tried to protect the calf, but the wolves simply apart until they were a pack of wolves, she says. And when they had finished, nothing was left behind. Stana is certain dangerous. If they are really hungry, they will even attack human beings, she believes. After all, one hungry man will also attack another. And of one thing she is absolutely convinced. If you run into a wolf in the snow, all on your own. Although there has never been a single record of a wolf ever attacking a human here, when people are frightened around. Lies a different world, near where the Danube and Drava meet. It is the river plain. If this were Middle-earth, the forest. Rit is in the east of Croatia, stretching out across the Pannonian, one of Europe's most extensive and important. This is where one of the grows. Over 200 160 different species of bird live here all year round. Every year, large parts of the forest are flooded by seasonally recently hatched chick. Life just couldn't get any better. While sitting comfortably and securely on the back of one parent, the other feeds it a small fish. But against although the chick is able to swim, a ride on a parent's back is always preferred. But when both another persistence will always win in the end. And last, the chick seems like paradise. But danger still lurks. During the Croatian War in 1991, the front line went straight. Lines have now been cleared, but some were never found, and they can be moved by the floodwater. The Kopacki Rit forests